Hello and welcome to this webcast. In this presentation I'm going to give a brief overview of the MSc High Performance Buildings that we run at the University of Plymouth here in Devon in the United Kingdom. My name is Professor Pieter de Wilde and I'm the program manager of this course. High Performance Buildings is really an attempt to be at the forefront of buildings that perform exceedingly well. Hence we have as an image a polar station that has to deal with a much wider temperature range than what you typically would find in buildings in more moderate climates, and which really captures the view of high performance. Our course has been designed to sit at the interface of building design and engineering. We link to our undergrad programs in building surveying, construction management, and architectural engineering, but we also have an intake that stems from a wider group of students, for instance, architecture, but also further disciplines like mechanical engineering, civil engineering, and we have had students with a background in math or environmental science. After the MSc in high performance buildings, you can, of course, join the industry and hopefully bring your knowledge that you've gained into fruition, but it's also a pathway if you want to embark on research programs and maybe do a PhD with us or another university. The course has been designed in response to what we're observing in the field. A lot of work going on in things like energy efficiency and facility management, a continuous effort in building performance simulation, the growth in the uptake of BIM, building information modeling, and other ICT technologies, and a lot of work going on in things like smart grids, eco-cities, smart control, intelligent workspace, and similar. Our course is really designed to relate to the research we do within the department. So if you join this course, you will be involved actively in some of the research we do and the project we're involved with. The focus of the course is strongly in building services, engineering, and design. So we have a high element of building science or building physics as it's known on the continent, obviously with a focus on energy. We deal with architectural design, catering for the architectural engineers and people from a wider design background that join us. Decision making in design and architecture and engineering. We have a good degree of building performance simulation in there, capturing my own expertise. We deal with operation and control in relation to things like occupants and climate change. So the things that vary on the outside and that put a certain pressure on buildings to respond. And then we have building services and energy conservation measures as core ingredients. What makes the course unique is this emphasis on high performance buildings and wanting to be on the cutting edge. The competition, of course, does similar things with sustainability and energy and management. But by being on this high performance area, we hope to position ourselves on the front end of what you will aspire to when you join the industry. This course is fully accredited by the Chartered Institute of Building Services Engineers. That means we're the only CIPSE accredited course south of Bristol. So if you're on the southwest peninsula here, then this is a good thing if you want to do something with CIPSE and become a member of that. And we have quite a number of students on the course that actually already work in industry and take this as a top up to help them reach a chartered status with CIPSE. A few brief words on the course structure here, and I'll give a glimpse of each of the modules in the slides that follows. But basically we have 3 modules that we run in fall, taught modules, then another 3 taught modules that we run in the spring, and in parallel and over the summer, students do a buildings research project. Detail of these courses sits on the next slides, but I'll also give a bit more detail in the internet if you want to have a read of these issues. The course is delivered by myself, as well as a number of colleagues. So you might see my colleagues Steve, Satish, Matthew, or Jim joining on some of the modules. So it's a wide range of backgrounds that you will be taught from. The first module that we encounter, if we look in detail, is Theory of High Performance Buildings. This runs in the fall semester. It's taught by myself. and is heavily built on a book that I wrote on building performance analysis. So it gives an introduction to what building performance is, what requirements buildings have to cope with, how we can use system engineering to design buildings, how we can measure performance and benchmark that and quantify it. Deals with things like rating systems and normative decision making. Students here do a written exam as well as a piece of coursework, which both is 50% of the 20 credits that are available on this one. The next module is taught by my colleague Matthew Fox, and actually this was emerging technology. So if we do high performance building, then of course we also need to know what new technology is on the horizon. So this module explores these things, looks not just at systems, but also fabrication and construction processes. So for instance, 3D printing or additive manufacturing, energy systems, building information modeling, retrofit. And since we talk with emerging technology, it's of course interesting to look at what disruption is, how you can do a patent and protect your intellectual property, but also how you do horizon scanning to find out what is coming your way. In this case, there's no exam, but 100% coursework. The third and final module that we run in fall is Smart and Intelligent Buildings, done by Steve Goodhue. This has an emphasis on monitoring, so measurement and verification for buildings, performance tracking, fault detection and diagnosis, BMS control systems. But also, this module has a practical component. So one of the images you see on the screen is from the Cobage project, a project that Steve runs on natural materials with funding from the European Union. So there's a practical dimension to how you measure things on materials or building sites as well, and how you put that into your smart, intelligent overview. Again, like the first module, this has 50% exam and 50% coursework. Then after the Christmas break, the course continues with 3 modules in spring. The first of that is building performance simulation, done by myself, where I built on typically what we teach in the undergrad is how to use tools like Design Builder. In the higher thing, we try to take a tool agnostic approach. So we look more on the principles behind modeling and simulation, things like discretization, data analysis. We revisit a lot of the building physics principles, and then we look into some more advanced computational approaches, so optimization and search techniques, and how you deal with larger samples. And one of the things that we also cover here is the so-called energy performance gap between what is predicted and measured. Again, this module is 50% exam and 50% coursework. The second module in the spring term deals with finance and investments, and at the moment I'm teaching that. This one is really to cover the side of things that it is nice to have high performance buildings, but at some point we need to pay for them, we need to operate them, there needs to be a return on investment, so we need to look as to its financial side. And again, students that take this module have an exam as well as a piece of coursework. The third and final model that runs in spring is performative architecture, and that is taught by my colleague Satish in architecture. And this really tries to go beyond the technical and financial things that often drive things, but take into account the social, historical, and design factors. This is co-taught with the MArch, so with the Masters in Architecture students. So students learn also to work with another discipline, if that is relevant, if you come from more an engineering background, and to understand what drives architecture in the social, economic, and cultural context. This module, again, has 100% coursework. Finally, then there's the research project that I deliver, and that runs all year. So it starts in the fall term, then runs in the spring term, and is completed over summer. There's 2 variants of this. So you can do a traditional dissertation, but you can also do a design project and design or redesign a building to a high performance standard, and then write a report where you make the case on why that building that you have designed is a high performance building. Obviously, being a research project, this again is 100% coursework. At the moment, we offer 2 ways to study. We have full-time attendance where 160 credits are done in 1 year over the 3 terms. But we can also offer this as a part-time mode where the 160 credits are split over 2 years. This is typically done on a day release basis. So people working in practice only have to attend sessions at university 1 day a week, which means you can work for the other 4 days a week. And what we're looking at the moment is also a distance learning mode, which of course has to do with the pandemic that just goes around. So if needed, we can take all our courses online and you can still take this. So we're flexible at this point in time. We hope to deliver on campus, but if not, this is a good alternative. But if we go that route, we will also open it for a wider audience that might want to study completely on our distance learning mode. So that is under development, and if you're interested in that, please contact me. I would say that overall we are a small course with a limited number of students, which is an advantage because that means we can cater for your individual needs. So we have a high degree of flexibility. So I already mentioned that we have students with a background in math or environmental science who are new to the built environment and all the challenges that delivers. So we can cater for that and make this interesting and make sure that you get retrained in this area. And like I said, this is the only CIPSI accredited course south of Bristol. So if you're from Cornwall or Devon, then these are interesting options if you're in this area. If you're interested in this course, of course, you can contact me, pop me an email. You can find my details by searching for me on the internet, or you can contact the general admissions of the university. We're looking forward to hear from you and hope that we might see some of you joining on my course.